And as Mike said, this race is going to be tight. We know that races like this can be won or lost by just a few thousand, even just a few hundred votes. I want you to just think about what happened in the governor's race here in Maine back in 2010. The outcome of that election, it's like, ooh. but the outcome of that election was decided by about 9,800 votes. And while that might sound like a lot, when you break down that number, that's about 8 votes per precinct. Do you understand that? That's 8 votes. Now, I know that every single one of you knows 8 people who can get to the polls, right? You know 8 people who didn't vote in those elections. You know 8 people who are thinking in their minds that their vote doesn't count. You know those folks. You know them. They say, why should I vote? What does it matter? Well, it made the difference in last year's election for governor, 2010. So let's be clear, this is on us. We can't wait around for anyone else to do this for us. It's on us to get people energized. It's on us to get folks out to vote on November the 4th. And that's where you all come in. We need all of you out there every day. Do you hear me? Every day, not every day. Between now and November 4th, we need you knocking on doors and making calls and getting everyone you know out to vote for Mike, because it will be that ground game that makes the difference. It's that kind of hard work. For anybody who worked on our campaign, you know how valuable that kind of day-to-day work is. Don't ever underestimate it. And it may seem tedious, and it may be a little bit frightening, knocking on a stranger's door, but it's that kind of interaction with your neighbors that makes all the difference. And you can sign up to volunteer right here and right now. Just find one of the organizers with a clipboard. They're all here. And I want every single one of you to sign up for at least one shift for the final 4 days of the election. That's essential. It's those last 4 days, that last big push. And then on election day, when you head to the polls to vote for Mike, I want you all to bring 8 people with you. Okay? Bring your 8 people with you. Bring folks from your family, your neighborhood, your church, your school, your classmates, your dorm mates. Don't leave anyone behind. And start reaching out to those folks today just to tell them to mark November 4th on their calendars. This race will be so close. And on election night, as the results are coming in, I want you to be able to look back and know that you did everything you could to elect Mike as the next governor of Maine, because the stakes this year simply could not be higher. And if we don't show up at the polls this November, if we don't elect leaders like Mike who will put people first instead of just fighting for special interests, then we know exactly what will happen. We will see more folks interfering in women's private decisions about our health care. We'll see more opposition to raising the minimum wage and ensuring access to health care for hardworking folks. So I want to be very clear. If you think people who work 40 or 50 hours a week shouldn't have to live in poverty in the wealthiest nation on earth, if you think women should get equal pay for equal work, if you want your kids to have quality preschool and the college education they need to fulfill every last bit of their God-given potential, then you need to step up and get everyone you know out to vote this November. That's what's at stake in these elections.